Welcome back for another episode along this journey of the undervalued male. Today, we will continue with part 2 of the destruction of the family by the church. Now, the top tier 1% man is represented at church. It's extremely small, but it's there. It is divided into two categorical men. One is in the audience. He's top tier from actually being a masculine man and being successful with hard work and skill in life. Usually a businessman, but not limited to. Although he is very elusive to the crowd, he is there for a specific reason. We'll go into him later. The other top tier man is, of course, on stage. From the worship leader to the head pastor, these are the Jesus Christ superstars, the wolves in sheep's clothing. Not the only, but the main one terrorizing the community, breaking up homes and giving fake illusion of life, just to build his own kingdom. This guy is a menace and a terrorist in his own community and town. He's either going to look like a trendy Ken doll or the perfect dad from a 90s sitcom. Both are picture perfect and not a hair out of place. In the minority church, he's going to look like an R&B singer or a walrus in a suit. No matter what, they all wear very expensive clothing. Nowadays, you'll even find some in hoodies and boots, streetwear up in the pulpit, because it's become more and more less sacred in the pulpit. Living only a lifestyle that everyone dreams of living. Because, of course, it's the image they are selling. I know there are different variations and circumstances, but I'm focusing on the bigger churches. Also, I know and understand that the small churches, especially but not limited to a small town, has a different dynamic, and they are extremely outright controlling and mean. Again, I'm focusing on the bigger churches or mega churches because they have more power and influence over the masses and government and schools. By now, you're probably saying to yourself, okay, but what does their lavish lifestyle and looks have to do with me or anything? It has a lot to do with everything. Because the women in that church is believing that this is the ideal man, and her son needs to be like him. She is so enamored by him. Whatever comes out of his mouth, it is as if God said it himself. That power over women is very appealing to young males and weak adult men. Now, you have the makeup of many people in the pews. The women want to be with him, and the guys want to be him. Each church has thousands of members like that, which translate into millions in a nation, billions worldwide. That pastor is now one of the most influential people in the world. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of votes. Starting to see the connection. Remember what I said about giving in the earlier episode? This smitten kitten crowd gladly gives to this person. Whatever he says, they will do their best to give it, and no one can stop it because he said, God said to give it. Then when you do give, God personally now will make you rich. And that also includes who he tells you to vote for, you vote for. Now, he won't flat out tell you who to vote for because that's supposed to be illegal. But what he will do is insinuate who to vote for, or actually have that politician from a particular party come on stage and say something, but won't have the other candidates to come in and say something. So you put two and two together. All of this sounds great, right? But there are a few problems. One, it's all a lie, and God never said that. That will not make you rich because you gave to the church. Two, it's actually making the majority of the people poor. Three, it's only making the church and the pastor rich. Four, it's now influencing and persuading the masses to vote a certain way. Remember, these men are weak and passive aggressive, majority of them who are there at the church. This is the only way they know how to make money, by selling a lie and a false image. Many of them say that they are entrepreneurs, but 90% of the money that comes in comes from you giving. Take that away, and they all would fail miserably. Some of them actually brag about never working a job before in their life. Think about it. What does that now do to the home and mind of that single mother? What does that do to the families? Selling this false hope to people that God will make you rich, but you must sacrifice and give them money. That puts a huge financial strain on them. The stress level at home is through the roof. You're not learning practical applications to gain wealth, just the illusion of what you can have if you just give to them money. Well, that sounds perfect and amazing to a single mother and a weak man. Now you have the perfect atmosphere for the infamous Jezebel spirit. Or should I better say, feminism. I know you thought it was the government's fault or the school's fault for feminism, but no, it was the church. The government and schools just played along, i.e. the votes. Had you not noticed the explosion of church attendance with the rise of feminism? I bet you didn't. They go hand in hand. I understand that you would like to blame the government because women started working and voting when the men went off to war. That is true, but women largely went back to home life when the man came back. Plus, we've always been at war since the beginning of time, but nothing has been this big and fierce as this wave of feminism. It's because the wave was manufactured by the church. With the rise of the number of single mothers and weak men, the church was booming. And with that boom, they needed money. Where do you think the majority of the money came from? Women. Which means the women need more money. Which means she must divorce her husband, get alimony and child support, and work more. Now that she is single, she is in charge and head of her own household. She takes the masculine role at home. The male child has a domineering mother telling him what to do while being emasculated. She's working hard, trying to make ends meet and giving money to the church. The daughter sees this and thinks mom is a superhero. So she wants to be strong and independent like mom, but better. And the flame of feminism becomes more intense and bigger. So big, it begins to influence more and more women. The women don't mind and are loving the struggle and fight. Well, because they are being told by the church that this is temporary and that God is going to bless them some way, somehow. They are going to become rich from their giving, and better yet, they are going to get married to a better man that just so happened to be just like the pastor. This is all an illusion and more than likely will never happen. Which that hurt anger, and disappointment, it is never directed at the church. It's directed back to the men and how they failed them. So they emasculate their sons even more and empower their daughters to be stronger. Now feminism is full blown and ready to destroy the patriarchy. This concludes this part 2 of the church destroying the family. Next episode, we'll discuss the government's role in the destruction of the family. See you on the next journey.